pick. All right, so main card. You ready? All right, those are cool, man. So our main card opens with Ilia Topuria and Bryce Mitchell. Both of these guys coming in undefeated professionally. Topuria at 12-0, Bryce Mitchell at 15-0. Yeah, 15.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I could read. That's good. So one of these guys is going to have to leave here with a loss on Saturday. This is a tough one. I have my notes written up for this fight, and now that I'm thinking about it live on the show, it's like, do I really want to go with who I was going to go with? But I'm going to do it, and I'm going to take Ilia Topuria against Bryce Mitchell. Tom's not on camera. He just leaned back real hard. I don't know if he's going with Bryce Mitchell, but I don't know. I mean, Vegas, I think, sees something out of Ilia Topuria. He's, I believe, a minus 170 favorite. He's got really good takedown defense. And so, for example, we saw what he did against Ryan Hall, right? And Ryan Hall sure was hurt, got hurt a little bit into that fight and had to rely on the Iminari roll as his only way to try and get Ilia Topuria to the ground. But before that, fought really well against Ryan Hall. And I'm also not sure if Bryce Mitchell can stand with Ilia Topuria. Ilia Topuria has really good hands, really strong hands. You look back on his last fight against Jai Herbert, knocked Jai Herbert out with, a nice right hook after going a couple of shots to the head, down to the body, back up to the head. He was dropped by Jai Herbert, and so that does worry me a little bit. There was a nice head kick that Jai Herbert snuck in there in the last fight. And, I don't know if Bryce Mitchell has it like that on his feet, though. He doesn't necessarily have to if he can just get on top of Ilia Topuria and do what he did against, guys like Edson Barboza. But Ilia Topuria, he has really good fight IQ. He has great top control. So, I don't think he's going to go to the ground at all with Bryce Mitchell intentionally. I think if this fight goes to the ground, it's going to be all Bryce Mitchell's decision. I don't know. This is a tough one. The more I think about it, the more I'm psyching myself out. And I do want to go with Bryce Mitchell. I like him, and I feel like he's got really strong wrestling and jiu-jitsu. I just don't know if he has it on his feet to keep it there with Ilia Topuria. If Ilia Topuria can prevent this from going to the ground, then, he beats Bryce Mitchell on the feet easily. So I'm going to go with Ilia Topuria at minus 170. This is a tough one. This is a real tough one.
Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. At the end of the day, Bryce Mitchell, I think he's fun, and he is that mauling type style. He's the American Khabib, some people say. But when you look at him and you look at his body type and you look at the body type of Khabib Nurmagomedov, well, there's one guy that is jacked and strong and the other guy who's not. And he's been able to make it work for him, Bryce Mitchell has. But he's going up against Ilia Topuria. And Ilia Topuria, yeah, he got dropped by Jai Herbert. Jai Herbert is a 155-pounder with a reach, I think, in the 70s. And is also, I think, 6 foot tall or something like that. So, that's not something he's going to have to contend with here. He's only giving up a 1-inch reach disadvantage to Bryce Mitchell. And as someone who is Ilia Topuria, he was able to contend, and he knocked Jai Herbert out cold. Jai Herbert, he was the one punch, and he dropped and he fell on his face. So that shows you the power that Ilia Topuria has. Bryce Mitchell does not have the one-shot put-out power that Topuria has. So if I'm on the feet with Ilia, I'm nervous. Bryce Mitchell wants to get to the ground. Now, you can point to the fact that Bryce Mitchell had knocked down Edson Barboza in his last fight, but I think that was largely because Edson Barboza was a little bit, cautious of what Bryce Mitchell wants to do to him, which is go in there, go for the single leg, transition to a double leg, take him down, and then maul you. So if that's what he's going to try and do, I don't think Ilia Topuria, who's got a really strong ground game, and he's actually rooted in a strong bit of, I think it's judo or grappling, wrestling. That's not just pure jiu-jitsu. He does have a jiu-jitsu black belt, but he's got a more stronger base that I think he's going to be able to defend, and he's going to be the guy who has the best ground game, I think, to this point with Bryce Mitchell. Andre Philly is largely a striker. Charles Hossa is largely a striker. Matt Sales sucks. And Bobby Modafet, is not of the caliber of fighter that we're talking about here. Edson Barbosa is a striker through and through. So you're talking about a guy in Bryce Mitchell who is a grappler and a wrestler who's been taking on strikers and been able to, take advantage of their weaknesses there. You have Ilia Topuria going against a guy in Jai Herbert who has a strong ground game of his own, up 10 pounds at 155 when Ilia Topuria fights at 45. It took on Ryan Hall. Ryan Hall wasn't able to get him on the ground, ultimately broke his hand. Yes, for sure. But, he was having no success against Ilia Topuria. Ryan Hall wasn't. And then you go back to even Damon Jackson, who's a guy who's shown himself to be, adept on the ground, and he knows what he's doing against Yusuf Salal as well. Ilia Topuria was able to fend off ground and really show his ground and pound, almost like a Bryce Mitchell style. See, Ilia Topuria was doing the Bryce Mitchell style of bringing people to the ground and beating them on the ground before Bryce Mitchell made it popular, or I guess before Bryce Mitchell's style was popular. Of course, it was popular before Bryce Mitchell. But all that being said, Ilia Topuria found power in his hands. He found speed. He now knocks people out. He's strong on the feet. He has a good grappling game. He's going to be able to submit you from the ground if you need to. He has a really strong back game. And, I like Ilia Topuria here, even minus 170. He's a Georgian guy, and he's 25 years old. He's constantly improving. He's at an actual gym like MMA Masters, and so versus Bryce Mitchell, who's just kind of out in the woods doing his own thing. So for all of those reasons, I like Bryce Mitchell. I think he's a fun fighter. I don't want him to disappear into the abyss here, but I think this is Ilia Topuria's fight.
All right, good. Yeah, you made me a little nervous with your initial reaction there before. The people at home can't see it, but I could see on like a little screen down below. And I was like, shit, Tom thinks I'm an idiot for taking Ilia Topuria or something. But, I just think it's a smart play. Like, I don't know if Bryce Mitchell is ready for Ilia Topuria, especially on the feet. All right, next fight up, we've got